Hey friends. So it is morning time when I'm recording this. So I've got a little bit of morning voice, but don't worry. What I have to say was worth getting up for. Hi, welcome. My name's Angela and I'm the Inquisitive Farm Wife, and I'm so glad you're here today. Today, we're just going to sit and we're going to visit a little bit about Thanksgiving. I love Thanksgiving. It is a big tradition in my family. That is one that I can remember as a child getting together and watching football and playing outside, taking family photos. Everybody would come together. We'd have a big dinner. Our bellies would get full, and then we'd have leftovers and we'd turn them into another meal and we would craft, and then we would stay up late and we would go Black Friday shopping. I mean, it was like big. Things have changed over the years, as they do, but I still love Thanksgiving, and I hope you do too. We're going to talk about money saving techniques because, it is Frugal Friday. Oh, by the way, if you're new here, welcome. You never know what I'm going to do here on the channel, so make sure that you put that subscribe button. And if you find my content worthwhile, I ask that you share it out so that others can enjoy it too. So I've got my notes here because I don't want to forget any of the good stuff. Plan for Thanksgiving leftovers. That is what we're going to talk about today. You're like, what? Why would you do that? Okay, well, I've got five major things I want to talk about. 5 topics I want to talk about today under that category. The first thing is I want you to go ahead and buy that bigger turkey. As long as it's within your budget, of course. But I want you to do that because typically this time of year, your turkeys are going to be on sale. And so while you've already got the oven hot, while you're already going through the work, it would make most sense to go ahead and cook the bigger turkey and have lots of leftovers. And you can plan all sorts of meals to use them with. You can use them that week, but we can also start doing future meals too. You can redo what you have into a completely different meal. Let's think about things that you can do with your future turkey meals. So right away, usually leftovers can turn into sandwiches. You can take your extra stuffing, you could take a little of your cranberry sauce and your turkey, and you can toast up some bread, and it becomes a most delicious deli-style sandwich. You could make paninis, you can use some brie cheese, get fancy, and it could be a really delicious way to use up those turkey and other side dish leftovers the week after Thanksgiving. What about those mashed potatoes? Somehow they always grow, don't they? And there's always leftovers. And although you can take those potatoes and turn them into potato candy, or you could turn them into potato fritters, I also like to turn it all into like a shepherd's pie or cottage pie, except with turkey. Take the leftover gravy, some vegetables, mix it all together, put some mashed potatoes on top, and then you could turn that into a freezer meal or eat it right away. I have a recipe I'll put somewhere where you can take your sweet potatoes, turn them into gnocchi, and make a turkey gnocchi soup. Any recipe that you love that calls for cooked chicken, just sub it out with the cooked turkey. I, for years, would plan ahead and make freezer meals. I have a video on turkey rotel casserole, turkey pot pie casserole, turkey spaghetti casserole. Are you getting what I'm throwing down? Lots of casseroles can be made. I also like to do canning, freezing, and freeze drying. I've got videos on all sorts of soups and stocks, bone broth, soup starters, all kinds of things that you can do with your leftover turkey. If you have a freeze dryer, it makes the most amazing broth to be able to have in there. Or even your vegetables if you have leftovers that you want to freeze dry, or a soup or a casserole. But if you don't have that, the freezer works well. So now that we've talked about the turkey, number 2, make sure you're saving all those scraps. So once you carve the turkey, whether you do it the day before or the day of, make sure that you're saving that carcass. Put it in a stock pot or a cooker or whatever your choice is. And then as you have been meal prepping, I want you to also save all those celery butts, the tops of your carrots, the skins of your potatoes, the ends of your onions, the peels of things. Save all that stuff, put it in the freezer as you're working through all your meal prep that week. And then when you've got your carcass, throw it in there and cover the entire thing with water. I have at least one, if not two, videos on how to make the most amazing bone broth stocks that you with all of your leftover turkey. That broth that you'll put up, whether you can it or freeze it or whatever you choose to do with it, it is free. It costs you nothing, and it really doesn't take much time. Number 3, pie crust. So if you make your own pie crust, why not go ahead and make a couple extra and have them ready in the freezer? Why? Well, because they're handy to have. But I started out many, many years ago, and my thought was turkey pot pie. Because I would make a turkey, and my husband, if you don't know, he doesn't eat turkey. And so I thought, well, what am I going to do with all these leftovers? I planned ahead, and I didn't make them, but I had bought extra pie crust so that I took the leftover gravy, the leftover vegetables, some leftover turkey, and I made turkey pot pie, and my kids love it. That is one of their favorite things that we have, and it's all from leftover ingredients that I had on the Thanksgiving table. Number 4, extra veggies. So I always put out corn, carrots, peas, beans on the table so that on my Thanksgiving Day menu, make sure I just have plain ones. They could be doctored up a little bit, with savory spices. And I always have those on the table so that I can plan ahead to do those new dishes that we just talked about. And the gravy, just the same. I always have so much gravy, and I never know what to do with it. I mean, it's great on top of mashed potatoes, don't get me wrong. But think of all the things we've already discussed that we can slide it into all those casseroles. And then number 5, I want you to think about what we can do after the big day is already over. So things have kind of flipped. It used to be like the day after Halloween, I'd go in and I'd grab all the candy at half off. Well, they don't do that anymore. They start out at 50 or 25% off, and it might make it to 50% off, and you hardly ever see 90% off anymore. So I have, though, been surprised to be the week before, and the holiday themed cereals that were like $4.26 marked down to $1. So this week, while you're out shopping and getting those last minute things for your holiday table, I want you to make sure that you're browsing the aisles to see if they've already started to mark down some of those items. I know last year, right before Thanksgiving, they started marking down the stuffing mixes, the gravies. I think they even had like green beans and cream of mushroom soup and yams and things like that. Be looking this week for that. I didn't want to make this video afterwards because they're starting to put those kind of things on sale now because they're wanting to make room on the shelves for all the Christmas items that have already started coming in that they don't have room to store in the back. They need to get them out on the shelves. So they're starting to mark down things before the holiday even happens now. And then after the big day, the day after, or even through that week after, they'll be marking different items down even more. So if you want to plan ahead like I do and have a couple extra turkeys in the freezer, I have gotten them just as cheap, if not cheaper, than the pre-Thanksgiving sales. So if you missed out on a sale, don't give up. Many times I've seen that they have overstock or a late shipment, and you can get those turkeys at a really good price. So save room if you can in your freezer for an extra turkey to set back, because that is such a savings. Turkey can be so inexpensive. And if you are a canner and you know how to can, that is an amazing way to put it on your shelf. It's delicious meat, and you can raw pack it. It's wonderful, and it doesn't take up any refrigerator or freezer space if you have that capability. Think about planning ahead for next year. If you have the funds to do so, all the paper products will go on sale. So if you use paper products, you might consider that as something to be getting for next year. I know I have done that many times. I get decorations and things like that if the budget allows. And then another thing is like their French onion or your fried onions. I've gotten them for like 25-50 cents. And although we make our own dressing at Thanksgiving time, those stuffing boxes, I do have recipes that I enjoy making other than actual dressing. Like I make a stuffed acorn squash and just other recipes and casseroles that you can use them in the future. And if you sometimes, most everything is usually under $1 all the way down to 25 cents, depending on where you're located and what the original price is. Think about those gravies, those turkey gravies in the jar. Have you seen those? I've gotten those for like 50 cents a piece. What are some other things we've stocked up on? Our broth. I've gotten chicken broth for really cheap, and to have a little can, if it's cheap enough, it's worth having on the shelf, even though we're making our own stock from the turkey carcass and our scraps. Chicken broth a lot of times will go on sale too, so keep your eye out for that. And last year I even got some beef. I really enjoy getting to talk with you about all these things. I enjoy a good sale. I get really excited when I can go out and get a good bargain. And I hope that I have brought a few new ideas to you and inspired you to be looking this week for things that might be on sale and things that will be on sale this following week, and so that you can start saving and budgeting and planning for those things and keeping your eye out for that extra special sale. Until next time, friends, bye for now.